coverage of the NCAA men's basketball tournament is sponsored by GMC. We are professional grade. Experian Boost. State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. And by Wendy's, the official breakfast of March Madness.
Utah State by 3 on Texas Tech in this matchup in the South region with Evan Washburn, Debbie Antonelli. I'm Carter Blackburn, and clearly, Debbie, I think we have to talk D.
We got to talk defense, right? I mean, Texas Tech has only shot 28% from the floor, yet this is a one-possession game for them, and look at their defense. That's the reason why. Look how they collapse on the inside. Everyone communicates and is connected. They're in the gaps, they pinch, and as long as Utah State stays not shooting the three well from outside, that defense is going to continue to shrink and collapse on the inside and make it tough for Utah State to operate in the paint.
Let's take a look at the Uber Eats first half stats. A team with 13 turnovers in the first half has the advantage in the NCAA tournament. And for more on the second half, let's check in with Evan.
Well, despite a 3-point lead, Craig Smith described that first half as a root canal because of all those turnovers. Felt like the rebounding kept them in it. +8 in that department, second chance points. They were also really efficient when they didn't turn it over. As for Chris Beard, he just feels like they need to relax offensively, and they have to adjust to Keita's shot blocking ability at 6 in that first half. He feels like if you attack him and get into his body, that can help.
You know what, Evan, I think that's what you always want to do when you're going against a shot blocker, is try to challenge him. But here's the thing. We talked about Keita not being a player that typically gets in foul trouble. He only has one personal foul. That means as the game goes on in the second half, he's going to become even more aggressive, looking to block shots and up his level of play at the rim.
Bean gets a steal to get it started for the Aggies. Run out, couldn't finish. McCullough has the rebound.
Maybe Texas Tech can pick up their tempo and see if they can get something easy in transition.
Red Raiders at large from the Big 12. Utah State at large from the Mountain West Conference. Third straight year Utah State has qualified for the tournament. They got to cut down the nets in Vegas. Craig Smith, his first 2 years in the Mountain West Conference tournament, didn't lose a game. Went to the championship game again this year, but it was special that they were one of the few teams who got to celebrate a championship a year ago. Edwards gives the kick. McCullough. Keita keeps it alive, and Keita boards it. Brock Miller. Keita at the top of the circle. Playing point guard at 7 foot. Turnaround. That's his points have come on the faceoff. But misses Dazzle. He hasn't scored since the 4 early points.
17-minute mark in the first half.
Mac McClung, 9 first half points. He's playing in his first NCAA tournament game. Shannon, here's McClung, gets past Anthony. Bean helps, but Mac McClung gets the bucket from the baseline.
He does such a good job of relocating off the post. And Utah State's guarding inside the top of the three-point line. They're not extending and they don't overplay. That's not the way they guard.
Anthony Tough floater. How about that answer? Almost mirror images.
How about that with the right hand and his offhand, Marco Anthony.
So now it's Mac versus Marco.
Neither one of these teams want to have to guard for 30, or they want to have to guard for 30 seconds. You got to move the ball.
McClung off a good screen from Santos Silva. And Amish Keita, another rebound. Boarded on his last 2 trips, 5 rebounds to go along with the 6 blocks. And now Keita facing up off the shot fake. Good find. Worcester can't take advantage. McCullough boards it.
Still only 1 3-point field goal for Utah State. They make 6.5 a game.
Keita tips that one away from Santos Silva. The matchups on the block are just fun to watch.
And you got to know how to enter the ball into the post there. I mean, you've got the size advantage inside. You got to make that extra. You got to make that extra dribble, increase that angle to get the ball inside. Improve the angle.
to shoot. Skip to McCullough. Off the bounce on Bean. Miller digs in, knocked it away. Who touched it? We're going to get a conference and getting together. And that's good officiating there from Bill Covington and John Floyd.
Billy Covington doing a good job communicating. That's a good help inside by Brock Miller, creating that turnover. Here comes the extended pressure. You know, when you're shooting 28% from the floor, sometimes you got to do something, extend your pressure, open up the floor. Maybe that can get your rhythm going offensively. They've been so good in the quarter court down here, holding Utah State to just 28 points. It's been all defense, Carter. You know I like offense.
Well, then,
there it is.
Brock Miller gives you request, Debbie, like you just picked up the request line and said, we need something to go through the hoop.
Sometimes it's not how many you make, but it's when you make them that can give your team some rhythm and some momentum.
Peavy follows his miss. That's a foul on Queta. That's his second. Trying to get another steal from Santos Silva, number 2 on Neemias Queta. Watch live games on your computer, phone, tablet, or streaming device with NCAA March Madness Live. Watch now at ncaa.com/March Madness or download the app today.
That's not a good foul by Queta. You know, he shows so much defensive discipline. You can't reach like that.
And yet, 2 personal fouls. It's early in the second half, and Craig Smith, even with the under-16 timeout coming, is not going to sit him. That was.
I think you always leave him in there for a defensive possession.
Shannon hits it over Miller. Terrence Shannon, who has played through an ankle injury, the sophomore from Chicago. Capable of spectacular play for the Red Raiders. Queta back cut, poked away by Peavy. Here comes Shannon. Bounce ahead. Nadolny lays it in. Clarence Nadolny, the sophomore from France. Red Raiders back within 2.
See, Queta can't go for that one because he picked up that cheap one. Cheap foul.
Queta on the offensive end. Little push off, got away with it. That could have been hugely consequential. Shannon, Euro, with the lefty, and we're even at 31.
Back-to-back transition opportunities, playing downhill.
6-0 run for the Red Raiders with Mac McClung on the bench. So they're scoring even without their top basket getter.
McCullough working hard on that block.
Bean bothered. Shannon brings it back again. Running the Red Raiders. Shannon faces up. Texas Tech on top with a friendly roll. Timeout, Utah State. It's an 8-0 run by Texas Tech. They have made their last 4. Terrence Shannon Jr. running the Red Raiders. Tech on top. And now, thrilling drives presented by Nissan.
Couple of back-to-back turnovers in the live ball situation allows Texas Tech to get up the floor and get 2 easy ones at the bucket before Utah State can get organized defensively. You turn it over in the first half 13 times. They weren't live ball turnovers. Second half, you see why what Craig Miller calls those catastrophic turnovers that lead to easy buckets. Craig Smith, excuse me.
Oh, there's a block. McCullough got it. Aggies get it back. Razorback comeback. So Arkansas gets the winner of this one between Utah State and Texas Tech.
Another live ball turnover.
Nadolny down the baseline, kick Edwards, triple. Oh, a great look from Clarence Nadolny, who has given Tech a lift here in the second half. It's an 11-0 run while Mac McClung gets a break for the home stretch.
What a great job by Chris Beard's team out of the locker room. Down 3 to turn the momentum with their defense.
Worcester rattles out. Bean tries to keep it alive, nearly poked it in.
And the Texas Tech defense has really neutralized what Keita can do inside.
Shannon, shot fake. Spins it in, make it 13 straight for Texas Tech. Guns up for the Red Raiders. Anthony drops it off. Bean, finally, Utah State able to end the run by Texas Tech.
Well, Utah State does a good job of playing in the middle third with that high ball screen with Keita and Wooster. That changed the space on the floor. We haven't seen them run a lot of that yet.
McCullough, triple, wreck 'em. Largest lead of the day for Texas Tech. Up by 8.
Really dangerous right here. Utah State has to have a good possession. Can't have an empty one.
Miller, he walks. Another turnover. It's an empty possession, and it is all Texas Tech right now. Ball's going through the hoop at last. Stone face. Unbelievably delicious Coca-Cola cherry vanilla. Something this good should be out of bounds, but it isn't. That's Chris Beard's fiance Randy and daughter Margot. And right, I mean, how good is our crew? Producer Steve McKee and director Jim Cornell for the Coke Cherry Vanilla Coca-Cola.
Love Coke Cherry Vanilla.
16-2 run for Chris Beard's Red Raiders without leading scorer Mac McClung on the floor. So even though Mac McClung is your star, out of this timeout, he's got to rest, but McClung's still resting. There's Peavy, who picks up a cheapie on Keita.
Speaks to the depth, speaks to the defensive effort of Texas Tech. I like the full court pressure too. I think the 17 turnovers by Utah State forced by Texas Tech's defense is a big number.
Keita, finally another basket for Neemias Keita.
That's his first points in the paint.
And first points of the second half. Had the 2 face-up jumpers early. That's it on the offensive end. 6 blocks in the first half, none in the second for Keita. McClung is coming back in the game. Peavy, power dribble, right into Keita, turnaround. That is a heady play by the freshman Micah Peavy.
We saw Mac McClung do that earlier in the first half. You shot fake and reverse pivot out. Try to create some space so you can shoot it over the top.
Keita clears it out. Floater won't go for Ashworth. On the weak side, rebounded by Anderson, and a foul on Texas Tech. The freshman from Duncanville, Texas, clip it, because this is a clinic how to score on a shot blocker, Micah Peavy. Texas Tech has turned Utah State over 17 times and built an 8-point lead. A special guest in attendance here in Bloomington, and for more, here's Evan.
Yeah, he's got a Texas Tech shirt on. That's Matt Mooney, former Texas Tech guard, but he played a couple seasons for Craig Smith at South Dakota, and that's where the Chris Beard and Craig Smith relationship was born. They have a lot of respect for one another because Mooney would then transfer to Texas Tech, and Craig Smith gave that endorsement to Chris Beard, and they've had a working relationship since then.
Now, Beard actually called Craig Smith to ask him detailed advice as to how to coach Matt Mooney. I mean, it worked out pretty well all the way to the championship game in 2019. Jared Culver and Matt Mooney, but that was such a sign of respect that
yes,
you have a player transfer and the coach says, hey, can you talk to me about what plays you like to run?
How do I coach him better? How do I coach him harder? What are the things that trigger, you know, while you're building that relationship, which both these coaches are outstanding at doing, building relationships with their players, and that builds trust. In space, pulling Keita away from the bucket. Now Texas Tech is starting to knock down some shots. They only made 9 shots in the first half. They've already made 10 here in the second.
So the Aggies go into Keita, and a foul is on the floor. Peavy just picked up, after the made bucket, Peavy picked up his 3rd personal foul. This one is on McCullough. That is his 2nd personal foul.
Carter, the quality of the catch, right? When Keita catches it at the front of the rim, he has not been able to work himself to the basket, to the inside. That's part of the reason why he only has 1 basket in the paint. A lot of that is Texas Tech's defense. Pushing him out, the quality of his catch hasn't been that great.
Ooh. That's Anderson getting away with a little bit of a push off there. I mean, Texas Tech's tallest defender is 6'7", and yet they have neutralized Keita.
It's because they can't make any threes. So the defense shrinks and everyone packs it in, and they're playing in the gaps and doing a great job. And now they're getting some easy buckets, which Utah State did not give up in the first half.
Red Raiders rolling. Lob. That's a travel before the lob, meaning 18 turnovers for the Aggies.
I mean, watch how Texas Tech is running the floor. You get behind the defense. That's one of the reasons why you really want to push and run. A great finish inside by Shannon.
Another way to neutralize the shot blocker, right?
You got to run the floor hard, and you got to run it wide. And if you do that every time, and that's one of your good habits offensively, you'll get some easy buckets.
Kick to the corner, Edwards. Santos Silva has the offensive board. Over Keita, and then a foul. It'll be on Anderson digging down.
That's a tough, weak side rebound.
Now, Debbie, you pointed out earlier, I mean, the season high for turnovers for Utah State is 18. Now it's 18.
And that's a problem, especially since the second half they've been more live ball, allowing Texas Tech to run off them and score.
McClung floater. Well, this huge run for Texas Tech has been without scoring from Mac McClung, but he's ready to get buckets to extend a dominant 24-4 stretch.
Keita's got to be aggressive here.
Anderson. Another missed 3. Keita has the offensive rebound, and Keita just his 2nd basket of the second half.
8 rebounds, 1 on the offensive end for Keita.
McClung splits it, floats it, boarded by Anderson. Keita, good seal inside. Here comes the help. 2 Red Raiders force the ball out of his hands. Miller, air ball on the 3. Tech doing it with D. Edwards will reset.
Everybody lifted above the free throw line for McClung to go one-on-one.
Edwards resets, finds McClung again. Step in triple. Touched. Foul on the floor. On the rebound against the Aggies. The Big Red Bulls are back. John Cena and Nicole Breyer host brand new episodes of Wipeout on TBS. Don't miss the all-new season on a whole new network April 1st on TBS. Peavy gets it in tight. Keita knocks it away. Santos Silva able to recover. There's another block by Keita. But the Red Raiders get back on D. Block number 7 for Keita. 97 on the year.
He's got a matchup he should like.
Back in, kick. Worcester hits the 3. At long last for the Aggies, another made 3, just their 3rd of the game.
Now you know that Texas Tech is switching that dribble handoff action. That should be something Utah State should be able to take advantage of with Keita. They get the double, they reverse it, they get an open 3.
Santos Silva, good look. Nadolny in the corner. Keita has the rebound.
They need to score here to make this thing so competitive again.
Anthony Bean missed a dunk foul called on Peavy, and that is the fourth on the freshman Micah Peavy. So free throws coming, and they will be big ones for Justin Bean and the Aggies. Foul called. Can the Aggies take advantage? Red Raiders by 9 right now. It has been a dominant stretch here in the second half for Tech.
Well, it's their defense. It has allowed them to get out in the open floor and score before Utah State sets their D. They do a great job of relocating off the pass. And Shannon behind the D. He runs the floor, gets ahead of the ball, gets rewarded. 24-9 run in the last 8:53 for Texas Tech.
So what does Utah State do now, beginning with Bean at the line?
They're going to make 2 free throws here, and then they're going to get back and they're going to play some D. Okay, and they're going to force Texas Tech to the perimeter. Tech has not gotten to the free throw line at all in this half, and they're 10th in the nation in made free throws.
Bean misses the second. Anderson gets the offensive rebound, touched out of bounds. Aggie basketball not reviewable yet on the out of bounds, so it is Utah State ball. So instead of the chance for 2, I mean, this is a double up opportunity.
They like to double team on this baseline out of bounds to Texas Tech. You got to know where number 34 Bean is.
Looking for the high low to Keita. It's denied. So clear it out. Anthony skip. Worcester over McClung. How about a third chance? It's cleared by the Red Raiders. So only 1 point on the double up chance for Utah State.
Good decision by McClung to run some offense here. They did not have numbers.
Shannon with 8 to shoot. Holt on the way up. Shannon gets it back into the hands of McClung. Shot clock winding down. Mack misses. Keita has the rebound. Critical stretch for Utah State. Taken away. Another turnover. Shannon gets the steal this time.
What a great read.
Shannon left alone. Everybody passes on the shot. McCullough off the window on the run. Red Raiders back up by double digits. Thumbs up for Matt Mooney.
Classic. Steal, move the ball, and attack the basket.
Off the screen from Keita. Kick. Anderson. Aggies needed it. Instead, McCullough, another defensive rebound. The looks are there. They're just not falling for Utah State. Santos Silva wants it on the post. Shannon trying to get the angle.
He has worked hard for position all game.
So Shannon late in the clock. Step back. It was touched. Boarded. Offensive rebound. Big one from Edwards. Floats it right back up. Second chance bucket. And Chris Beard has the fist pump because his Red Raiders are playing great down the stretch. Until foul on Santos Silva. House of Highlights, the reel is back for season 3. Host Kenny Beecham sits with top athletes to react to the biggest moments of their careers. Watch now on Facebook Watch. What a dominant stretch by Texas Tech.
I mean, Craig Smith coming out of the timeout had a 49-41 or 40. They miss one free throw, get an offensive rebound, don't score.
Keita has Peavy on him. Switch it back, Santos Silva. Keita with the shot clock winding down. Miller, 3 to shoot. Miller lost it, diving on the deck. Nadolny, that's a winning play. And watch out! Rick, this from Micah Peavy. All red in Bloomington. Chris Beard says, I have never taken this tournament for granted, especially now. And his team is playing like they're taking nothing for granted, just the way their head coach wants them to.
I mean, you said it, Carter. That's a winning play that Nadolny made. Great hustle, and that's what I would say about Texas Tech all game. Their defense kept them in it while they shot 28% in the first half, and their defense has turned the game around here in the second.
Anthony passes on the three, floats the two. That's been the spot where Utah State has done what little damage they've been able to do offensively.
Well, you're Craig Smith. You're telling your team, can we get 3 straight stops and 3 straight scores, and then you make some game pressure, put some game pressure on Texas Tech.
Peavy cut off on the baseline, so Edwards 3, not feeling any game pressure.
A 26% three-point shooter takes a big shot for Texas Tech. I think their ball movement has been much better here in the second half also.
Keita backing in, turn around. Neemias Keita trying to give the Aggies a lift.
Texas Tech has done a fantastic job of not allowing him to get to the block. And then on the defensive end, they have moved him around and pulled him away from the rim a little bit better in the second half.
Anthony gets a block, and Peavy gets it right back. Street dog play from Micah Peavy. Both of these coaches said their goal is to be the team that nobody wants to play. They've had tremendous success on both sides doing exactly that, but it's all Texas Tech right now.
Kyler Edwards spots up behind the arc. Little shot fake, lets it fly. Texas Tech is rolling.
Adam Zucker back in New York with this tournament update. Craziness at Mackey Arena. Oral Roberts on a 14-2 run. They lead 2-seed Ohio State because Max Asmus can't miss. The nation's leading scorer has 15. It's on CBS from Purdue's Arena. Back to Indiana's Carter, Debbie, and Evan.
Oh, it's the thriller that we anticipated from Oral Roberts. Boy, Florida Virginia Tech was a phenomenal basketball game as well. Here, Texas Tech is taking command on Utah State. Arkansas awaits the winner after the Razorbacks rally. 21 turnovers, a season high for Utah State. Texas Tech has been intense on D. And now looking to ice it. Shannon, cleared by Neemias Keita. It's a double-double for Keita. His 16th, 4th most in the nation. Drop off Anthony. Good find from Ashworth.
Yeah, good pass, good handle. Makes the extra dribble to clear some space. Full court pressure now by Utah State. Here comes the trap at midcourt.
Perfect place to trap. Shannon somehow gets out of it. Keita gets the steal in the open floor. Trying to rally the Aggies.
Keita's got Mac McClung on him. You got to keep working to get him the ball.
Anthony throws it away. And that is how the day has gone for Utah State. Get non-stop March Madness news, picks, and highlights from every game on CBS Sports HQ, the free 24/7 sports news network. Download the CBS Sports app to watch today.
All season, when Utah State has gotten that switch and had a small on Keita, they have not brought two to the ball. They've spread the floor, they've made the right reads, and they usually get it inside to him. But Texas Tech's defense has sped them up, and they're playing out of rhythm. And what you've done at what you thought was game speed was one thing until you see Texas Tech's defense, and then it's hard to simulate it. So fast, so athletic, so connected on the defensive end.
Saw Shannon hobbling to the Texas Tech bench. Get some attention from trainer Mike Neal. And that's a concern for Texas Tech. They're able to close this one out and move on because Shannon has been battling that ankle injury throughout the year. Texas Tech in no hurry now. 6 to shoot in the hands of Mac McClung. There's the triple. He's in the middle of his dream in the NCAA tournament.
Absolutely. He knows he can win that one-on-one matchup.
Anderson, that is a blocking foul called. Shannon picks up the personal.
Watch McClung measure his feet, drive Miller behind the three-point line, use the bounce to create some separation to get into the rhythm of his shot.
And that call was right from the bench from Chris Beard. And
space, spread out. You know, some guys at the end of games like to have a ball screen. And Mac McClung's not one that likes a ball screen late. He would rather go one-on-one. He's so good off the bounce. He can create separation.
Just ask the Longhorns, the game winner from Mac and Austin.
That's exactly.
Ooh. Keita gets the offensive rebound. Last gasp for the Aggies. Anderson, how about a third chance? Right back up with it. Timeout with 1:28. Utah State trying to fight back. Arkansas awaits the winner in the South region. Final timeout for Craig Smith and Utah State. This is looking like it is Texas Tech's day, but still doesn't change the fact that Utah State has been a remarkable run in the 3 years under Craig Smith. One of the all-time hires by athletic director John Hartwell. Perfect fit. Craig Smith calls it his dream job. Aggies have won 2 Mountain West Conference tournament titles under the native of Stephen, Minnesota. Population 707. But it has been the Red Raiders D pounding Utah State. Ooh, Mac McClung fouled by Anthony.
Well, Craig Smith's team has out-rebounded every opponent this season, and they're +10 in the game. That's what kept them in the first half. But you got to remember, this Texas Tech team, 28% from the floor in the first half. Carter, you turn the ball over 22 times. That's not a good recipe for a winner.
Pretty much impossible. Keita's going to sub out on this possession. You see the 5 fouls up there for Utah State, so they still have to give one more. Trying to catch up to Mac McClung, trap him, foul him. Bean goes for the steal. There's the foul given. But still one more.
Right. Well, you trap, you try to get a steal. Now you go again. One quick trap, one swipe. Get Keita out because you don't want to foul.
Imagine
you don't want him to foul.
Yeah, imagine inbounding against Neemias Keita. Foul away from the ball. And that's on Anthony. It didn't look like that's the one that Utah State wanted to give, but the result is Texas Tech to the free throw line. Clearly frustration from Marco Anthony.
Well, no time off the clock.
Kyler Edwards, Chris Beard says he's one of my all-time favorite players. Brings it every day. The 3rd NCAA tournament. Yes, Chris Beard says they will hang a banner in Lubbock at the USA for last year 2020. Even though there wasn't an NCAA tournament, he says, hey, we were an NCAA tournament team. We've earned it after that championship game run 2 years ago.
Oh, and Kyler Edwards comes into this game playing his best 5-game stretch, scoring the basketball for Texas Tech. It's the right time to be playing well.
Anthony cut off. Here's Anderson. Into the hands of Edwards. Less than a minute to go. Foul given. So with less than a minute to go in this one, Texas Tech, the 6th seed, closing in on advancing to face the Arkansas Razorbacks. And should Texas Tech get on a run, as they did 2 years ago, it'll be tougher as a 6th seed, but Chris Beard actually told us, Debbie, and I believe this is a pledge. Mac McClung has some signature ink, right? Chris Beard says, I love Mac. I don't have the ink that Mac has. But Chris Beard said in our Zoom If we reach the Final Four, I will get a neck tattoo of Gate City, Virginia if we reach the Final Four this year. So mark it down.
Yeah. You think he meant it, Carter?
We're going to find out if the Red Raiders make that short trip to the Final Four in Indianapolis.
Well, the Big 12 has been outstanding all year when you consider 7 of the 10 teams are here in the tournament. 6 of those programs in the Big 12 have been to the Final Four, including Texas Tech in 2019. Chris Beard's team 4 consecutive NCAA tournaments, counting last year, like you said. And, you know, this is the first team that's been ranked preseason and ranked at the end of the season. So they've been ranked all season long. A 6th seed in the Big 12 tournament and a 6th seed in the NCAA.
I know we're done with the quads now that we're in the NCAA tournament, but Texas Tech played 14 games in Quad 1, which was designed to say, how do you do in NCAA tournament style competition? So it's Big 12 so tough, so deep, and there's no doubt that the Red Raiders are tournament ready. I
watch their West Virginia games because I have so much respect for the toughness of Bob Huggins' team. So if you can win and play tough against West Virginia, then it's a good measuring stick for where you could be in the NCAA.
I tell you who else loves the toughness of Bob Huggins' teams, and that's Chris Beard. Big fist bump between those two. So Texas Tech by 15. They turned Utah State over early. They negated Nemish Keita. And I know one Utah State alum who's actually going to be happy about the Red Raider win. I mean, this is kind of a strange one for the former Utah State quarterback and Utah State graduate, Matt Wells, who is now the head football coach at Texas Tech. So guns up, even though Utah State alum, and even though he's good friends with everybody in Logan. Lovely Logan, Utah.
Well, as good as Texas Tech was in the first half defensively, they were even better in the second. Their energy was fantastic, generated some easy scoring for them early.
That's just the 4th made 3 of the game for Utah State. But the Aggies playing it out to the end, even with the shot clock turned off. Burton gives it up. Edwards crosses over and into the hands of Mac McClung. Utah State will back off, and Mac McClung gets to dribble out a win in his first NCAA tournament game. Back to phone call number 1 between Mac McClung and Chris Beard. It was all about getting here. March Madness, Mac and the Red Raiders are advancing with a 65-53 win over Utah State. You can hear the cheers from Gate City, Virginia, to the Cap Rock in Lubbock, Texas. 6th seed Texas Tech wins their opening round game in 2021. So the Razorbacks with a mighty comeback over Colgate to advance, and now it's Texas Tech versus Arkansas, an old Southwest Conference flavor between the Red Raiders and the Razorbacks.
Justin Smith for Arkansas with 29 and 13 in the win over Colgate. Great balance for the Red Raiders. Tremendous defensive effort. And they did it without getting to the free throw line very much. Their adjustment in the second half, playing with Keita on the inside, was tremendous. They made some shots on the perimeter. Their defense got them some easy buckets. Great team win for Texas Tech.
The turnover differential that Chris Beard always says he looks at first on the stat sheet. 22 turnovers by Utah State, 8 from the Red Raiders. And that's a winning formula. And you know it has to feel special here with Chris Beard, the former Bob Knight and Pat Knight assistant, to get this NCAA tournament win here in Bloomington. Let's send it over to Evan.
Here with Mac McClung, and congratulations, Mac. You waited a long time for this, to play in an NCAA tournament, and now you get a win. How did the reality match up with the dream?
You know, it's great. You know, this is obviously, I don't know if this tournament, anything's better than this tournament, so I'm excited to play here, but also just trying to keep that focus and stay with the team. We played great today. I thought Kevin McCullough showed up great on defense, and I'm really proud of the whole team.
What changed in the second half? The first half, just 23 points, you're down 3, and then you guys get things going in the second.
Coach Beard is once again taking me out of an interview. No, I'm just kidding. But he's telling me I got to go celebrate the team. Thank you so much for the interview. Coach Beard, do not blame this on me. Blame this on Coach Beard. All right. Thank you, guys.
It's all right, Matt.
He's taking the coaching. Oh, my goodness. You know, that's so great. I mean, really, that's... he's waited so long for it, and he was the first one on the floor this morning when the basketballs were rolled out. Mac McClung had his hand on the basketball because he had waited long enough for the NCAA tournament, so now he does get to go celebrate with his teammates.
It took him a couple of shots to get going, but he ended up with 16 points to lead Texas Tech like he's led them all season long, right on his average, and his first NCAA tournament appearance.
Okay, so how do you think the Red Raiders match up with the Razorbacks? And that is a tremendous contrast in styles.
Oh, it's going to be great. Arkansas likes to get up the floor, and they like to score in transition. They're a high-flying team. This is going to be a really important matchup for Texas Tech to be able to play the kind of defense they did, limit the transition opportunities for Arkansas, keep them in front and not letting them get behind their defense. It's going to be another low-possession game.
It will be intense on the floor. It will be intense on the sideline with Chris Beard and Eric Musselman going head-to-head in the NCAA tournament. Texas Tech versus Arkansas in the South region. Florida advances with that thriller against Virginia Tech. I mean, it is all a thrill to be here in the madness. And yeah, it was a slow offensive start in this one, but every dribble was intense. And Texas Tech, last time they were on the floor in the NCAA tournament, they took it all the way to the championship game, advancing to face Arkansas in the South region. Tournament games continue live now. CBS, True TV, and TBS. Coming up next on TNT, Oregon State versus Tennessee. We'll send you to our studio for Capital One Tournament Central after these messages.